Hello everyone, and welcome to Empowering the Conscious Business Evolution Talk with me, Antonina Manev, for some fresh, thought-provoking and liberating conversations about inspiring the sparks of innovation and evolution and growing a bigger and a wider world of ethically successful and consciously evolving business environment. For those who tune in for the first time, I'm the founder of Visions Inspire Strategic Business Growth Consultancy. As a business strategist, my focus is on turning visions into profitable businesses, be it for startups or established businesses. So in my area of work, evolving the business consciousness is a key element. You can find out more about my inspiring work by visiting the website www.visionsinspire.com. You can also subscribe to my YouTube channel or like my Facebook page or connect on LinkedIn with me. Business owners work with me, looking to increase usually their business cash flow and profits and create a secure financial future so they fully enjoy a greater lifestyle and balance. However, along the way, the main obstacle appears to be the uncomfortable mindset of conformity, which accepts limitations in business making and development, or even growing in order to fit in an old custom conventional framework of business making that holds them back, and all that at the expense of their true identity. But how we even start to break up these frames? Well, we'll have to try. In my interviews, video or audio, I will be introducing you to exceptional business leaders, owners, and creators who have reached great success in what they do, not because they worked hard to fit in, but by challenging the status quo and constantly innovating themselves and their businesses, by searching back to their authentic roots to follow the person-business-environment connection, and by taking approaches of consciously evolving to align with a higher social and earth value through their creativity, identity, and co-creative forward thinking. So be prepared, all my guests have left valuable tips and inspirational words of wisdom for you to take and do your best to outshine the conventional and grow yourself and business aligned with higher values. All their interviews are playing on the Visions Inspire YouTube podcast channel. Happy listening and happy learning and growing. In my previous show, I was honored to speak with Sheena Walker, a revolutionary TEDx expert and trainer turning business makers and leaders into the Olympians of their field. Sheena gave us these tips. Always think into design, one idea, one direction, one result. And choose to be a Ferrari. Every day can be your Ferrari day if you choose. It was so inspiring. And this is not all. Our conversations continue today with my new guest telling a story about an extraordinary journey, personal and business, and with consistent stride pushing boundaries to innovate, evolve, and think big towards replacing old custom business dogmas with a growing conscious business culture, a true visionary of business evolution. But just before I announce our guest, I would like to read something to you. Imagine this is a square, not a pink one. More like a village square, crowded with people walking, standing, sitting, drinking their coffees, having food. It can be pizza or gelato if you want to imagine the classic Italian seaside promenade. Some of them are working on their laptops, most are talking. They come here together and discuss all things digital marketing, sharing knowledge and experience. Welcome to Silvia Del Corso, founder, innovative thinker, and inspiring grower of PinkSEO.Marketing. Welcome.
Hello. Thank you for having me here. It's such a treat. I'm so happy.
I'm so excited to have you here today and share with our listeners some inspirational and motivational thoughts that can help them to be more aware of their powers to consciously evolve themselves and their businesses and confident to take the next step forward. So, hello Silvia, and why pink?
Yeah, well, it's not so frequent that you can associate a traditional, stereotypical, if you want, feminine color with a male-dominated industry, such as it is, or it used to be, at least when I started out 10 years ago in SEO. Because when I began, it wasn't actually a playing field in which many women just felt attracted to start working. And it was clear every time I was attending industry events or conferences, the room was full of men and there was just a handful of women there. So, yeah, probably. For me, it wasn't really easy to understand why it's not such a very commonly chosen playing field, but I presume we all got different attitudes. So I'm a geek inside, so that's something that was fascinating for me since I accidentally ended up doing this, because I started out in a completely different type of world, because I was in tourism in the beginning. I studied languages at the university, so it was a completely different type of job. Then the internet came, it disrupted this system, and I kind of fell in love with the enemy, which is the internet. So I discovered digital marketing, and of all the branches of digital marketing, SEO was the most technical, but also the most measurable, which immediately fascinated me. So I need to see numeric proof of whatever is being told. And I presume you, as a consultant, can really understand the power of numbers and tracking and figures and KPIs. So for me, it is paramount importance, the facts, data versus opinions and assumptions. So, and in SEO, this is how it is. Whatever you want to do, you need to have it backed by and proven by numbers. So that is why I loved it. And then I wanted to associate it with the fact that, yes, I am a woman, person leading the business, I'm a woman, I can be pink.
I love the pink. I love the pink.
That's
and
how
it speaks so loud. It speaks so loud. And it looks soft, it sounds soft, but actually behind that there is a very strategically built business to help in a specific area. Because nowadays I come across so many advertising themselves, SEO days, website days, and so many even self-proclaimed experts. And it is very difficult to come across someone who creates or who serves their clients in such a scientific and proven way like you. But what difference you wanted to make when you started your business?
Well, one of my biggest business goals, is to try and actually change the long-term reputation of the industry, because as you said, it's been a little bit spoiled by lots of bad practices being done in the past, and there still is a lot of bad behavior, and I'm sure you receive, as I do every day, emails from people promising tomorrow you're going to be on the first page of Google. We all do. And unfortunately, it still happens, and this type of attitude is what makes sure that when I start speaking with people, sometimes the first time they tell me, I tried SEO, it doesn't work. So if we want to have a very ambitious goal at the end of over my business existence, even further on, if there can be a legacy, there is something that is trying to give a more ethical reputation to this industry and making sure that everybody can clearly understand what is being done, because I've been researching quite a lot, and commonly people who have been betrayed, who've been working with companies and didn't have a good experience. They claim that in the past they worked with companies and they didn't understand what was being done. It wasn't transparent. They weren't presented with a precise timeline and objectives, deliverables. They didn't know what was going to happen, and if it was worth the money that they were paying. Everything was kind of hidden behind fog screens. It shouldn't happen. Everything should be explained in a very clear way that anyone from any type of background, with any type of knowledge, even minimal, very minimal technical knowledge, should be able to understand. Because we want to keep them aligned. We want them to understand and be aware through reporting and talking, making everything clear that what is being done, what you are receiving, why we are doing that, what is the value that you're getting out of it. So yeah, that is the goal if you want, making it better, making a better quality in the end.
That sounds amazing. I came across something on your website which really struck me as being very different from the others. And it is about to start with, about the square and people sharing free. And on your website, you say you can copy anything from here. You know, in a culture where everyone is trying to enforce copyright and do not copy here, do not copy me, don't copy my content, don't share my content without my consent. Suddenly it comes you and you say, you can take everything. Just share it, use it. It is the knowledge. And that is so different. And this is what I find part of the evolutionary process, evolutionary culture towards the new age business making. And I love it. I love it. So why it is important for you to do your business the way you do it, which is different from the others?
But because we grow together if we support each other. So the thing of letting you acquire knowledge in plain, clean terms, and please feel free to share, please feel free to make it become yours, and stepping on each other's shoulders to be taller. It is actually how we've been evolving, because if you think of why we have been here all through this millennia, is because we haven't been keeping intellectual property. So I discovered fire, it's my intellectual property, I'm not going to share it with you. Or I know how to create a spear, no, I'm not going to tell you that because it's just mine. No, we've been supporting each other and we came through here, so that's the only way that you can really get across. And as business owners, we've got different skill sets, we've got different capabilities, but the thing is that we can only go on and reach a common, brighter future if we all kind of chip in with each other. So the way of doing it is actually trying to support as much as possible in a way that anyone can understand and in a way that you can benefit from the very beginning, which seems a little bit of a paradox with SEO, because SEO is a very slow burn. So it's not something that you are getting results. You know how it works. So you're not getting on the first page of Google tomorrow, regardless of what I say. It takes a bit of time. So whilst this happens, I want you to learn. If possible, if you're involved, if you're interested, I'm willing to explain to you how things work, because it's empowering. If you understand how things work, then either you can do them on your own if you've got time to spare, which we generally do not. But if you want to outsource somebody, at least you know you're in a different position. You know how it works. You know what is going to be done for you, and you are empowered to take better decisions for the future. You know, it's your own business. You should know how things work. Then you decide you don't want to do anything to do with that because it's geek stuff and you hate it. But you can outsource it knowing how it works.
I totally agree with you. Because when I work with businesses, sometimes they come and they say, well, I want this result, I want that result, I want that result. But until they start learning and understanding how the foundations of making business actually work and interact with each other, they don't get the best value. So for me too, it is important for them to learn in a very affordable and accessible way the foundation so that they can grow their business with fully blown authenticity so that they can achieve more and in this way grow in their market and empower other people to do that. But until they understand the complexity and the interaction between the different areas in a business, I call them business drivers, it is very difficult for them to grasp the whole idea of business making and growing it. Yeah. I know we went through lockdowns and quite a huge shift in understanding how we can do business better, maybe. But how do you find the current business climate in terms of speed of adapting to the new norms?
Well, this has definitely been a moment in history, a moment that will be studied by our kids in the future. So they will be saying, you lived through that, because it is something that we can say, yes, I passed it, I survived that. And even if it was difficult, all the businesses who've been able to go through that really pat your own shoulder and say, I made it through. Because it's been a moment that didn't have happened since the world wars, and hopefully it will happen again. So I'm really admired and in awe of the changes that people have been able to do. And I've seen such an evolution in terms of digitalization in every type of industry, even niches that weren't meant to be digital at all. But people, again, they have to adapt. It's not Darwin, what he said, it's not the strongest species that survives. It's the most flexible, the most adaptable. So if we want to go through everything, we need to be flexible and able to change. So some changes have happened that weren't impossible to believe. We were used to be only thinking about the typical classical scenario, so business networking with your business card in the hand and all in person and just standing up and doing specific things with a specific type of rituals and working in specific environments. And what it was 1 year ago, 2 years ago, before everything happened, that TV presenter, when he was talking and his toddler entered the room and everybody was saying, oh gosh, how inappropriate it is. And now everything happens when we're working, because we've been working and homeschooling and trying to keep a balance when there was no balance at all, where everything was just merged. And still we've been able to go on. And businesses had to become digital all out of a sudden. Businesses weren't generally digital at all. So myself, with the work that I do, I've seen business owners who used to have a website just for the sake of it, to have something written on their business cards, and they started looking at it seriously for the first time, and they started thinking, oh, you know what, I don't like my site, but they never really were forced to deal with it because it wasn't an important element, and all out of a sudden it became the most important business tool that they had. So, well, we got quite a big shift.
Yeah, I totally agree. And I liked what you said, that before all that happened, it was considered very inappropriate, to go somewhere dressed maybe inappropriately for the expected dress code, and people judge you on the way you're dressed, for example, or the way you stand up at networking and giving your speech, 60 seconds. And now it is all happening, as you said, on our screens, and people are becoming more accepting of the normality, which is, I think it is a great shift because it allows younger businesses, younger entrepreneurs to come up on the stage, to come on the stage and present themselves before those people who would have fears, let's say, of public speaking. They would be hiding, they were hiding away because they were afraid. And now video meetings, but people feel much more relaxed and their messages are starting to come across, and you start to see more and more businesses around. Before they were kind of invisible.
But even bigger businesses, bigger companies, they weren't thinking or even remotely that it was possible to work from home because work had to happen in a proper environment. And how can you control something that's not happening under your eyes? And suddenly they had to face the thing that people can't be under your eyes. They need to be remote, and you need to trust. You need to have ways to know how they're performing, to have ways to get in touch with them. So everything was created and didn't exist even for quite established and mature businesses.
Yeah, that's absolutely spot on. But, what have you noticed changed in delivering your business? Because, of course, you're running a very busy agency with the support of your teams. What have changed in delivering your business?
Well, it's not changed much because we were already there, basically. Initially, my agency used to be set in Italy. As you can hear, as you said, I wasn't born here, and we just relocated 5 years ago. And back in Italy, we used to have the typical office with all the people sitting at chairs and the lovely office banter and the lovely office dynamics. And then we relocated here, and we had to do the leap. So we had to work remotely. So a part of the team is UK-based, and a part of the team is still the very trusted people who've been working together for 10 years now. So, and we're forced to find ways to have team relationships remotely, internationally from the very beginning. So we found out it works. And when people were wondering, how can I do it? Now you can do it because if we could do it, anyone can.
Yeah, that's amazing. So do you think during that process, you and your team had to go through remote working and working from home, everyone? Do you think that you came up really new ideas of delivering your business?
Well, brilliant ideas, they come from all of us. I'm really, really happy to have people in the team. They generally come out with great solutions for the challenges that we have, and took a lot of change from me in the first place because when you start and you start in a job like mine that's very technical, you start as a technician, so you got that type of technician mind, and then you grow a team and you realize you're not going to be the technician anymore, you're going to be the manager and you're going to be the entrepreneur, so you're not going to be doing the work and you need to detach yourself. So that was massive type of metamorphosis for me. But then once you understand that the power is in the people that you have, then they are the ones who generally come out with the greatest ideas and the greatest solutions. Things that even if I've been doing this for 10 years, I myself would not have thought, because now they're more immersed into that. So giving them the responsibility. In the beginning, it freaks you out because you tend to be over controlling and you say, how can I do it? But once you give them responsibility, limited, not completely abdicating, but you still follow through and you're still next to them when they need. But when this happens, then you see that you are very proud of being contributing, of being the driver. So yeah, it is great.
So it has been a great journey becoming a solopreneur into a leader of a greater team, of a bigger team for you. Well, I read somewhere that you were a recovering perfectionist.
Yeah, well, that is a part of the process as well, because in the beginning you tend not to accept, maybe when you're younger, I don't know, I don't want to think about age, but you tend to think that either something is perfect or it cannot exist. So you learn, I personally learned through burning out and thinking everything needs to be perfect regardless. Then you burn out and you realize that if you want to keep on going on, then you just need to be able to remain flexible. So perfection is not flexible. Perfection is very rigid. So you need to be open to change and accepting and thinking that things are not never going to be as you expected. So things will happen and you deal with it, actually. Yeah.
Well, I know you run your own business, you run your family, you're a mother, and you have to juggle all these responsibilities. And of course the guilt of not maybe being 100% here or 100% here or 100% there. And it is a very difficult journey, and I've been through that myself. But yes, I agree with you. As you say, in time, you just have to accept that perfectionism is not acceptable. You just need to be flexible and accept your flaws in a way and like them. Learn to like them. So what do you think? What brings the need for us as businesses to evolve? What happens that pushes some people towards to evolve and keeps other people in the status quo?
Well, sometimes it's fear. I presume that what keeps you from changing is basically fear. And the moment in which you grow out of that fear of yours is when you're curious, like the kids, basically. So the kids aren't scared of doing anything because they've never been injured, never been hurt. So you see them running and doing stuff, and the same things when ice skating some months ago, and my kids were going like that, and I used to be going like them, and now that I'm older, I realize that I'm going much slower because I've been hurt and I know how bad it is. So the thing that keeps us back from wanting to change generally it's only fear, and the only thing that can push you through is curiosity. So if you step back into the child's status for a second and you wonder, what would happen if, what if I just tried this little mini thing? It doesn't have to be huge, but what if I just try? And you're curious and you give it a chance. It wouldn't be something that kills you in the beginning if you do just a little mini something.
No, I like this, because be curious. Keep the curiosity alive as a childlike, and I like the comparison with our children, because yeah, definitely. When you're a child, you have no boundaries. Boundaries are created by experiencing what fear is, I guess. What I've noticed is that in my work with businesses, and of course through networking and meeting other business owners and all this, the acceptance of challenges or new things is very different in different groups, in different businesses, in different people. So how do you find new ideas in business making resonate with the wider communities in terms of the challenges, the acceptance, the inclusiveness, and their responses to it?
Well, sharing mainly. So listening more than what we talk and trying to get something out of anyone, basically. So whenever you're talking to someone, when you are keeping an open mind, even the most trivial type of conversation or the most boring type of conversation, there's actually, if you look into their stories, if you look into what they're saying, or even when you're talking with someone who's particularly annoying, if you look behind what they're saying and the motivators, and why complaining about something. There's always so much to learn. And even just by it doesn't have to be a TED Talk. It's just talking with random someone, and there is so much that we all have to share because we've all got different stories, but they're not so different in the end. So we've all got so much more in common that we think we even have.
What I found as a difference, as an improving kind of condition, is that the rigidness, in a way, of business talking across businesses have kind of mellowed, and they have become more accepting to the new ideas and trying to be more flexible. And I even heard an old generation business owner finally saying, well, now we have to accept that we have to live with COVID. Finally. I mean, this is a year and a half later. Finally. Because the mindset that kept people in the rut, if you like, and increased the stress levels, if you like, was because they were trying all that time, they were trying to go back to the old normal and not accepting what is now. Whereas I know you may have heard of philosophies like living in the present and, not thinking about the future, not thinking about what happened in the past, just living in the present. I don't fully think that you can do that. I'm not able to do that all the way because I always look forward and I have to learn from the past because that's the way we form our KPIs, the key performing indicators. But I find that business owners are more and more acceptable to the flexibility in front of them and to the opportunities for them to explore. Yeah.
It's a part of not surrendering to what happens, remaining able to adapt. So you go with the flow in the end, and it doesn't take so much energy as if you're trying to go against it. You're basically just following what's happening and trying to go the way you want.
Absolutely. Yeah, that's exactly what I sense is happening. So in terms of your own business, what can be your next evolutionary step forward?
Well, with us, the work that we are doing is supporting companies growing and getting more out of their businesses. So being able to have a broader success, getting more revenue, more profit from their own assets, so their own websites. And generally the clientele tends to remain stable and loyal for a while. There's been lots of change with everything that's happened. So even in terms of clients and types of clients that we worked with, that changed a lot because when everything happened, people started to think, I should better start having something solid online. And then they saw it was going to last for a while. And what if I start selling online as well? So the boom of e-commerce and selling products online. So the types of clients changed from more having local SEO, more having local businesses, venues, into being totally remote. So even the search terms and all of the trends online, they went all fully online and remote. And selling something was all virtual and online. Now we are getting back at least a little bit into what used to be before. So there's going to be back in style, and it is finally the time to be back into having hospitality and leisure in full style, and tourism and all of the travel industry travel events and all of that, business events and all of that, that's been dormant for way too long, and businesses that have been really, really tragically affected. Now it's time for them to restart looking into the future. So we're trying to support them because, as we said, it takes a while for SEO and it takes a while for them to now restart reorganizing and being ready for when it is finally again the time to shine. So this is the new type of wave that's happening. But again, we cannot foresee what's going to happen. We are just going with what we can see.
So basically what you're saying is that businesses who used to be, let's say, with shop fronts, now they have developed their online stores and all this, and now gradually when everything goes back into their shops, things are going to improve for them. But at the same time, you're keeping both. Yes.
There are some lucky ones who were able to go and will from now on be able to go on with this type of hybrid presence. So they're both online and in person, and they will see, why shall I come in person to your place? What are you offering to me in your venue that I cannot just by sitting on my sofa? It needs to be an experience. So they need now to create ways to involve people really in person. So that's their challenge. But unfortunately, there was another quite big part of businesses that could not really be delivering their offers before. So we're talking about the hospitality and the touristic and the events and all the things that needed to be done in person. And they were completely out of the playing field for a couple of years now. And now they're starting to shine. At least they got hope again, and they can see that things will be happening again. So that's how we are now starting to support many more of these, because SEO takes time to develop, and they now need time to be there, ready and found better than the competitors when finally they can be delivering again.
So the stress now is to meet the expectation of their customers in respect of experience, life experience. So, but the playfield is completely different now, because those customers, they have been spoiled in a different way. Their experiences, expectations have evolved, and now they're looking for different things compared to what was 2 years ago. So
why should I move and come to you if I can just be here sitting comfortably in my place? There must be a reason. There must be something that you're offering in your shop front, in your place. Yeah.
That's really interesting. Okay, here is a challenging question. What will happen, let's say, hypothetically, if suddenly there is no Wi-Fi? There is no internet. What's going to happen? How are we, you and I, going to prepare our clients to continue their businesses just using the experience, creating the experience for their clients?
Well,
what we're going to do?
With my particular type of work, no internet, no Wi-Fi, no SEO, no websites. So we would revert, the thing that's most similar to SEO remains, if we want to think completely off the grid, remains word of mouth. So it would become something supporting businesses, how to get more out of their referral systems, out of their networks, natural networks, human networks, their connections, how to be able to use their human connections better. So if I have to think of something that's post-apocalyptic, no internet, and a way of reusing my skills, my expertise, that might be the closest thing. So helping people liaise with each other and grow their businesses, whatever they will be, without internet, but through the power of connecting human to human.
Yeah, because this is one of the challenges I give to my, in the brainstorming sessions sometimes. Okay, with my clients, what are you going to do if your business suddenly has no internet, has no, access to websites and all this? And this is where the challenge is for them, because they have to go back now to what it was, let's say, 30 years ago, maybe. I don't want to talk about my age, but okay, supposedly 30 years ago when internet wasn't such an accessible thing. Was it 30 years? Or I'm even much older than that.
No, yeah, it is approximately like that. But my type of work doesn't exist clearly, because search engines, if I think of what it was like when I started, there was the Alta Vista and all of those. They were very cute. If you look at them now, they're cute. But my job was completely different when I started out 10 years ago. And it was very, very much easier than how it is now. But it wouldn't exist without the internet. So you would have to just reinvent yourself and take your skill set and do, okay, what are my strengths? How can I reuse them in today's different world? Yeah.
It will be interesting to see different scenarios.
A lot.
What's going to happen if suddenly there is no internet? And I think if people start to think in that area, as a strategist, I think if they have a scenario, just imaginary scenario in that area, in that kind of settings, and create and start to think about ways to keep their communication with their clients and do business effectively, and then have the internet and combine those two, I think it would be fantastic, because they will have learned, they will have one or the other, and now they can use both, hopefully with COVID restrictions, hopefully melting away a little bit. But yeah, that's a challenging and another way of evolving as well, because we will have to go back to our one-to-one, person to person.
Yes.
And maybe during that lockdowns, we kind of forgotten how to do that, how to connect. I can imagine myself on my bicycle. Now imagine everything with chips in it suddenly goes down, cars and everything. Me on my bike, going down my cocoa trail, meeting a client, sitting on a bench, talking about business. That will be interesting.
Yeah. But it would be a challenge, but it would be a nice, definitely way to find ways to change. And it's stimulating for sure, because when you have to find new solutions or else you don't eat, then definitely you will find something.
Right, okay. Let's come back to our age with internet, with all these commodities that we love. If out of all your experience and knowledge, and I know you have plenty of advice to give to business owners, but what about tips of wisdom from your experience in life and business would you like to share to inspire a business owner, a brave startup, or a passionate entrepreneur listening to us right now?
I'm a geek, so if I can give a tip, is measure. So make sure that you know your numbers. Related to SEO specifically, you need to research a lot. You need to know what your ideal customer is searching for, because we always start with lots of assumptions and thinking that people search for this, this and that, and I want to be found for these things. But too often in the beginning, people don't match these expectations with reality. They do not do this reality check and seeing if it's really what people search for, if the words that you think they're searching are precisely the same. Because generally the situation is quite different. People have got a different way of speaking. They got a different knowledge. They're less educated than we are, because we are very knowledgeable in our own business and our ideal customer is not. So they may be using colloquial expressions. They may be using something that's not really what should be. And so we need to know the language they speak, and we need to use it. So if I could give one tip, is research and know your numbers. So start checking your analytics and the tools that you can use, and make sure that you know where your traffic comes from, how much it is. So know your numbers, and your audience numbers.
That's a great tip. So if someone wants to start researching more about their numbers and their industry, of course, where they can find advice on your website?
Well, on my website, if you go on PinkSEO.Marketing, there's a blog section in which we've been sharing for 5 years now lots of free articles and guides, just in this idea of sharing knowledge and giving people something they can take away and empower them. So there's plenty of free guides and tips that they can learn from. And if they're able to stand my accent, the YouTube channel has got now 30 plus free video guides that teach you basically anything you may want to be curious to know about SEO and how to improve your website. So you can choose whatever comes easier for you.
So the videos can be found on your website?
YouTube. The videos, they're all on the YouTube channel, PinkSEO.Marketing YouTube channel, and the articles are on the website.
Okay, so the website, can you spell out the website?
Yeah, it's www.PinkSEO.Marketing.
Brilliant. I will repeat that, www.PinkSEO.Marketing.
Yeah, that is
brilliant. Simple. PinkSEO marketing. And I also know that you do workshops.
Well. Again, I am asked often to go and talk about this type of topics through the Paris Chamber of Commerce or business organizations to try and open the knowledge about this topic, so that SEO is not anymore this type of obscure science or scary thing, making it very easy. I know nowadays how to keep people engaged and not to overkill them with technical things. So they're always enjoyable and nice little things. But then there is a lot of one-to-one training, corporate training that we do to train company teams and delegates, so making sure that when a company has got team elements that could take care of their websites, they can upskill and they got knowledge. So that is some element of consultancy and training that we do together with hands-on support on websites.
So can anyone come to your workshop?
Well, the workshops, they're organized every now and then, unless they're organized by some kind of federation or similar. Generally, people ask me to have a one-to-one training for themselves or to train their teams. So yeah, the most frequent type of scenario is when they just hand over to us their websites to optimize. Otherwise, again, or together with that, it happens that they ask us to be training and consulting for their companies.
That's brilliant. So which is the fastest way for someone to get hold of you?
LinkedIn.
I know you're very busy.
No, LinkedIn. If you really email or LinkedIn, if you really want to find me straight away, because we've got a presence, a channel on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook and Twitter. But really, if you want to get fast connection, email, reach out on email. Even if you just got a question or something that you don't know how it works. It happens sometimes, emails from people just asking, I saw your video and I was curious, can I ask you something? And I always promise, yes, I promise I will always get back. So if you got something, I just like helping people out.
Oh, that's fantastic, Silvia. So, if someone wants to write to you, email you something, where they write to?
Info at PinkSEO.Marketing. Yeah, that's our main email address.
Info at pink, like the color, SEO dot marketing. The reason why I'm saying SEO so slowly, because it just occurred to me some people may not even know what SEO means. Oh my God. And I forgot to introduce that in the beginning, but it is what it is.
Search engine optimization. So trying to make your site more appealing for Google and the likes. Yeah.
Yes, that's fantastic. Would you like to add on anything more?
I don't know. I think that, we've been touching lots of lovely points, and I hope it's been helpful, it's been inspiring, and I know there may be questions, there may be something, but do let me know, and we can jump on it.
Yes, definitely. And I'm really looking forward to working with you on joint projects with our clients, because my clients will definitely benefit from the creativity you can introduce for them. So, Silvia, thank you for joining me in this conversation today.
Yes, it was. I'm really grateful for your time.
Thank you for sharing with the listeners and me your inspiration, empowering wisdom, and so much advice and guidance. It was a great pleasure.
And for me too. It's been a treat. I'm so happy, really.
Thank you. And that was your inspiration to continue empowering your conscious business evolution today. I hope you enjoyed the show, and I hope our conversations will help you take your own steps toward innovating and evolving as a conscious business by making choices for the benefit of people, communities, and environment. If you have any questions to my guests, I will leave their contact details in the description of this post. If you'd like to come to the show and share your wisdom, you're more than welcome. Please write to me to Antonina@visionsinspire.com. But definitely have a listen to all previous interviews, and do subscribe to the Visions Inspire YouTube channel for my next show for more inspiration on being part of our conscious business evolution together. Please give Visions Inspire your like on Facebook and follow on Twitter and Instagram. And do share with others to listen, spread the word, grow the knowledge. That's the spirit of the conscious business evolution. Till next time, from me, Antonina Manev, your business growth strategist, turning visions into profitable businesses, and always here to empower the conscious business evolution. Thank you, and till next time.